Hello again, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us for Saturday's edition of Alaska Weather. I'm Dave Percy, a meteorologist with the National Weather Service, and I'll be hosting today's show. Up first on the fire danger, we've got area now here over the Yukon into the Kuskokwim Delta area that jumped up into the high category. Dry conditions, kind of breezy, also wind picking up there, helped boost that up to just barely getting into the high fire danger category there. But a little bit of rain when that front, weakening front pushes in, that should help improve things with the little bit of moisture, and then eventually the winds will drop off. But otherwise, not too bad, really no high fire danger anywhere else in the state that I saw from the graphic. So moving on to satellite imagery, big storm out here over the Bering Sea, center right in this area here, trough extending eastward behind the front here, which is very close to Falls Pass during the mid to later part of the afternoon today. Back up across the Pribilofs, and winds, gale force winds, in some cases even storm force, but pretty much lots of storm force winds here with the front. That's occurring back out over the southern Bering Sea and the western central Aleutians with the main low center there, and strong winds coming around out of the west with gusts 60 miles an hour both at Shemya and Adak today or greater, with storm warnings across the southern Bering there and into the Aleutians. Otherwise, a band of rain here with that, just getting very close to Nunivak Island and then down across the Alaska Peninsula and the Pribilof, seeing rain beginning to taper off this afternoon. Interior, lots of sunshine, south central Alaska, northward, and then convection leading to thunderstorms here right in this area here. Back over the eastern interior, 40-mile country, afternoon thunderstorms developing, and some showers up here to the north that could possibly develop into thunderstorms later on in the late afternoon and early evening on Saturday up in this area. And a batch of moisture shifting westward from Canada brought some rainfall amounts, back one up there, here to the north side of the, say, the Wrangell Mountain areas. Chicken Creek picked up about half an inch of rain during the day today there, with pretty wet conditions down across the Wrangell Mountains. Also the southeast coast trough in this area, bringing roughly a third of an inch of rain or so here to places like Petersburg, and about the same with some showers in around Yakutat today. Otherwise, most other areas like northern Panhandle, just a few hundredths of an inch there with the lighter precipitation. Pretty good day there for Kodiak Island. Again, sunshine northward into south central Alaska. Developing showers over the mountainous terrain. Pretty isolated, but a little more extensive here with isolated thunderstorms increasing here and slowly spreading west and southwest. Some strikes into the central Copper River Basin. And that'll likely continue, especially over in this area here, to the west in that area of cloudiness. Low clouds and fog along portions of the Arctic coast here, like Point Lay, in toward the Bering Strait. Just cloudy skies, winds increasing. St. Lawrence Island, gusts 25 to 30, 35 miles an hour on the increase there this afternoon, with the rain still off to the south. And then behind this front, showers really taper off. Not much in the way of any shower activity back there, just lower clouds, cloudy skies, and those strong westerly winds, as I mentioned, gusting 60 miles an hour or more there, both at Adak and Shemya this afternoon. Starting to actually come down a little bit this afternoon. Front weakening, but still seeing gusts of 50 miles an hour at Cold Bay. And then the front now pretty much past the Pribilof Islands, trying to press in toward the southwest coast. And for tonight, that does just that. It weakens, moving into that split flow aloft, southeast flow up through here. And then the other part of the jet diving off to the southeast, it's going to stretch this front out, weaken it in this portion. Bulk of the moisture going up and clipping the St. Lawrence Island area. Chance of rain tonight, continued windy conditions there. Brisk southwest winds, 25, maybe gusts 40 miles an hour here across the Pribilof Islands. Back into the Adak-Atka area. Another trough kicked the showers up in those areas, drying back out to the west there. Next system developing here just on the edge of the picture, spreading some rain into the Komodorskis late tonight. Otherwise, the interior, light winds and variably cloudy skies. A lot of debris clouds left over from the thunderstorm activity, which will be diminishing here this evening over the interior, as well as the shower activity also becoming more scattered and isolated, especially after midnight and toward morning. Down through here, kind of a weak southeast flow, so it's going to bring considerable low clouds, fog, areas of drizzle up and around Kodiak Island to the Aleutian Range or the Shelikof Strait area tonight with some lower flying conditions, and then the rain, lower flying conditions of that front. But you can see the gradient here, not really all that impressive, so losing the winds considerably there for the Alaska Peninsula. Definitely Bristol Bay, but still pretty breezy here. Cape Ramon's off Nunivak Island, could see gusts 40 miles an hour or so, but that'll be diminishing on throughout the night. Prince William Sound, isolated showers possible, mostly along the coast range here and then over the eastern Copper River Basin. And the southeast coast drying out a little bit here, less shower activity, less steady rain, but another band of moisture keeping the southern part of Prince of Wales Island pretty damp. And for tomorrow, most of that pushes off to the east. And still this low off the coast there, both at the surface and the loft, keeps it unsettled, cool here, especially over the southern southeast coast. Better chance of seeing some sun to the north. Isolated thunderstorms possibly developing Skagway or into the Yukon and over the interior again by the afternoon. Starting out pretty nice, but clouds building, leading to some showers, any one of which could develop into a thunderstorm, especially here through the interior, back in toward the Noatak Valley and down possibly into the northern Kuskokwim Valley. This front continues to dissipate and weaken right along the coast there. Winds barely even a breeze associated with it now, just a narrowing, weakening area of precipitation to go along with that. And back out to the west, looks like a break, definitely lighter winds here for the Alaska Peninsula with diminishing showers, maybe some sunshine. Cold Bay, False Pass, Unalaska, Nikolsky, definitely dry tomorrow, lighter winds, maybe a peek at the sun. Next system spreading rain eastward and picking the winds up a little bit, nothing like the original low, which now pulls back to the northwest toward the Russian coast there. And but definitely warm front type weather will spread into Adak, which is low clouds, fog, rain or rain and drizzle, and southwest breezes maybe up to gusts 30 miles an hour. That's about it. Otherwise, Kodiak, possibly, if the low clouds burn off, you could see a partly sunny afternoon. Otherwise, it'll stay cloudy and dry here across the southwest interior in a narrow area there. But this front really weakening, not really going to push any farther to the east at all, and should be a mostly sunny day. Isolated afternoon showers, Kenai Peninsula, south central Alaska, and the North Gulf Coast. Outlook for Monday. Still a little unsettled here for the Panhandle, but not as much. Just scattered isolated showers, maybe some clearing in the afternoon. And low pressure in the Gulf of Alaska, pretty weak, not really affecting the south coast or the North Gulf Coast at all. Isolated shower possible around Soldovia here in the southern Kenai Peninsula. Isolated scattered thunderstorms once again develop in the afternoon, temperatures rising in the 70s again in the interior, and also back out toward the northwest there. Sunshine here across the southwest part of the state, and that area of moisture backs off the coast now. This low pressure area is swinging in toward the Alaska Peninsula. Rain from Unalaska changing to showers in the afternoon back across much of the Alaska Peninsula up to about Nunivak Island. Pribilof's cloudy, occasionally wet, but winds will be light. And the westerly winds really coming down there for the Aleutians, down to probably 15 to 25 for the day on Monday. Areas of low clouds and fog from the Chukchi Sea and along the Arctic coast. Lows for tonight, upper 40s, maybe to near 50 here through the central interior from the McGrath-Nikolai up into the greater Fairbanks area, with upper 20s for the central eastern Arctic coast, mid 30s back to the west, near 40 for the Aleutians, and the southeast coast, lower to mid 40s. Highs for tomorrow afternoon back into the 70s, 70s, 75, 6, maybe even 7 here over the eastern interior areas, near 70 into the Kuskokwim Valley. 60s cool to 50s to 40s here out along the Bering Sea coast. 55 to 60 Bristol Bay. 67 to 73 Susitna Valley, Madanuska, Palmer, and upper 50s. So the Panhandle. Lows for Monday morning, 45 to 50 over the interior. 40s south central Alaska. Near 30 along the Arctic coast, 40s for the Panhandle. Highs again back into the 70s here over the central and eastern interior. A little cooler for the Susitna Valley.
And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
Lots of IFR here, North Slope on out to all of the Arctic coast. Also here, Alaska Peninsula, Pacific side right across Kodiak up into southern Cook Inlet, Kamishak Bay, Gulf of Alaska, Prince William Sound, southern Kenai Peninsula, up to the North Gulf Coast. Lots of IFR out here in the Pacific, the Bering Sea and Aleutians, and marginal VFR over all of the southeast coast. Afternoon VFR breaking out here over the northern 3/4 of the panhandle here. Risk of thunderstorms developing there near or just north of Skagway. Improving here along the Kenai Peninsula with the IFR pulling back, but hanging on the coast there from about Cordova over to just west of Yakutat. VFR in the interior with developing thunderstorms. IFR still holding pretty good there over the eastern Beaufort Sea coast. Marginal VFR, Yukon-Kuskokwim Delta, Bristol Bay. IFR, eastern, southern Kodiak Island, back and covering just about all the Aleutians and the Bering Sea here right up to the southwest coast. And for Monday morning, increase in the IFR again across much of the North Slope and, of course, the Arctic coast. Here, the Noatak Valley to Kivalina, through the Bering Strait, St. Lawrence Island. Again, we've got the Bering Sea covered in IFR, as well as the Aleutians. Alaska Peninsula on the Bristol Bay side, not too bad, may even be VFR in northeast Bristol Bay, but marginal here, inland areas along the coast. VFR over the interior, but IFR back on the increased southern Kenai Peninsula into Prince William Sound, but then that retreats back again in the afternoon a little bit. Still holding along the east side of Fognak and Kodiak Islands there. No change out in the Bering or the Aleutians. Interior, good VFR, developing thunderstorms once again, mostly north and northwest, all the way into the Noatak Valley. And IFR, Arctic coast holding throughout the day. IFR, Gulf of Alaska, right on up into Yakutat. Marginal VFR Monday afternoon for all of the Panhandle. Anaktuvik looks good tomorrow. VFR also for Adigan. Lake Clark and Merrill, good VFR once again with possible, well, you see maybe an increase in the clouds late here for Lake Clark, but nothing that would go anything lower than VFR. Rainy, marginal VFR, isolated thunderstorms possibly developing again of the VFR variety, and then also same forecast for windy. Isabel, continued VFR. Mintasta, good VFR with risk of a thunderstorm for Tanita with VFR flying there. Portage starting out marginal, improving throughout the morning to VFR by afternoon. Chilkoot and White, same trend, marginal VFR early, then VFR probably for latter part of the morning through the afternoon. And for the freezing levels here, 4,000 feet, somewhat of a cool air pocket aloft here along the southeast coast, there up into Yakutat. 6,000 feet, give or take, here through the interior. And for the Aleutians, we've got 4,000 feet over the Bering Sea. Eastern Aleutians, 6,000 feet, 8,000 just south of the Alaska Peninsula. Icing, next batch of moisture coming in, mostly of the light rime icing variety. Could be some isolated, considerable moderate, but above about 4,000 feet there. Doesn't look all that threatening. And then a narrow band here dissipating with that dying front from the Bering Strait down across the Yukon-Kuskokwim Delta, Bristol Bay, really getting just about no icing threat at all here. And then some mixed icing up over the northwest in the afternoon, developing showers and thunderstorms, and also some mixed icing with unsettled conditions over the southern southeast coast. Jet stream, upper level low, keeping it unsettled there. That's the reason. This still hanging just west of the Queen Charlottes, circulating moisture up into the southern panhandle. Good jet coming across the Pacific, splits right through here. One branch off to the northwest, the other one off to the east-southeast. That's why that front's going to die just right along the southwest coast. And for 9,000 feet, southerly winds up to 45 knots here over the central Aleutians, turning westerly 30 to 40. South 20 knots, diminishing throughout the day. Start out stronger here and then diminish. Light winds over the interior with high pressure all the way up to the Arctic coast. 15 to 20 knot winds with that low just west of the Queen Charlottes for the southeast coast. And 10 to 15 at 3,000 feet. Pretty light wind day, actually. There's not much of a wind producer at all. High pressure, light winds, Gulf of Alaska, Kodiak, through the interior, up to the Arctic coast. And again, windiest conditions here in the southwest will be early on, and southerlies 25 to 30 over the eastern Bering Sea. Turbulence, occasional moderate chop from Atka on back toward Kiska Island, as well as along the southwest coast.
It's kind of hard to explain how important weather is to our job. I mean, it really affects everything we do.
In 2018, NOAA launches the GOES-S satellite, which takes its place in orbit as GOES-17. Working together with GOES-16, the two new geostationary weather satellites will provide constant watch over the United States and the Western Hemisphere, from the west coast of Africa all the way to New Zealand, helping monitor severe storms, wildfires, and daily weather patterns. Since its launch, NOAA's GOES-16 satellite has already demonstrated its critical capability for keeping our nation weather ready. Throughout the active 2017 hurricane season, GOES-16 delivered imagery with detail and clarity never achieved before, with 4 times greater resolution than previous NOAA satellites, and delivered this imagery faster than ever before, helping forecasters predict the path of a storm and where and when it will intensify. These accurate and timely forecasts allowed for emergency managers to prepare for evacuations, map flood areas, and save lives.
So the weather matters. The weather matters before the weather happens, and the weather matters after the event happens, because what we're able to do to prepare, allocate resources, provide information to the public through the media beforehand, and what we're able to do afterwards, how and when the waters are going to recede, so we know we can get vehicles with life-saving food and shelter equipment down a particular highway. All of that depends on the forecast.
In the GOES West position, GOES-17 will be able to provide critical data for the westernmost United States, Alaska, and Hawaii.
We're talking about getting data updates in just seconds, so we can quickly spot wildfires and closely monitor the wind direction and their intensity. The crispness of the data coming in at a faster rate will also help with fog forecasts. We can see the moment the strata starts to develop or when it starts to move out.
Like GOES-16, GOES-17 carries a suite of advanced instruments, including tools for sophisticated earth sensing, lightning detecting, solar imaging, and space weather monitoring. As an equal partner in the sky, GOES-17 will expand coverage of the advanced baseline imager technology across the Pacific Ocean, allowing meteorologists and local officials to see severe weather systems developing in real time.
So instead of seeing something, say, this large, that as you zoom in actually gets kind of blurry, you're actually going to see something that is much more detailed.
In its GOES West position, GOES-17 will be able to monitor conditions in the western U.S. like wildfires, coastal fog, and atmospheric rivers when storms from the Pacific dump heavy rain and snow over the western U.S. GOES-17 will have a major impact on fighting wildfires in California. Up-to-the-minute information and crisp detail allows forecasters to spot fires faster than ever before, even before the first 911 calls come in, and to better track and predict the path of large, dynamic, and dangerous fires.
It's amazing to see what we can get and at the level of detail and the speed that we can get the information down into the ground that makes our decision-making way more accurate.
With a view of the Pacific Ocean, GOES-17 will also provide a critical eye over shipping lanes vital to the U.S. economy, protecting cargo and passenger vessels from dangerous ocean storms. GOES-17 will also provide a high-definition view over Alaska, resulting in better weather forecasts and improved monitoring of sea ice, wildfires, and volcanic ash. The advanced baseline imager on GOES-17 can distinguish between clouds, sea ice, and snow cover, a critical need during Alaska's dark, cloudy winter months. GOES-17's geostationary lightning mapper monitors lightning flashes, including the in-cloud lightning most prevalent in severe storms, helping forecasters determine when a storm is forming, intensifying, and becoming more dangerous. Thanks to GOES-17, emergency managers will be equipped with more accurate weather predictions and faster warnings, providing a real impact, saving lives, and protecting infrastructure. Watching over Earth from 22,300 miles above, GOES-S will provide vital data to our weather-ready nation.
Hi, I'm JPSS. I'm a high-tech weather satellite that orbits our planet. I do something called a polar orbit. I circle the Earth from North Pole to South Pole, over and over, while the Earth spins. While I do that, I get lots of information about what's going on around the globe. I watch storms, clouds, and rain. I take the temperature of the ocean, measure air quality, ozone health, and take pictures of the land and sea. This information is used for all kinds of things. It helps us take care of our coasts and oceans and all the amazing things that live there. It helps us monitor harmful weather events like floods and droughts and measure the health of the environment. Most importantly, it helps us predict weather 3 to 7 days in the future. That means I can be a big help ahead of storms, where future warnings are important. I send information to the National Weather Service. They use the information to create forecasts. The forecasts are shared with people all over the country to help prepare for weather emergencies. So you look to the sky and wave. I'll be flying by.
And now, marine weather around Alaska.
Welcome back. Today's sea ice analysis, not a lot different from what we had yesterday. This area of ice here, a little bit farther to the north, and continued southerly winds for the most part. So ice here along the Seward Peninsula there in Bering Strait, they'll continue to melt. And the ice edge here may shift to the north a little bit. This is pretty heavier ice out here, so not really looking for a lot of any significant northward or westward retreat of the sea ice over the next 4 or 5 days. And for the coastal water forecast, north to northwest 10 to 15 on the north coast, and north becoming east, so I'd call it light and variable here for the south coast, 10 knots, 4-foot seas. Northwest 10 there for Clarence Strait, and light southwest winds for Stevens Passage, and light southerlies for Lynn Canal. Monday, south 10 there for Lynn Canal, no change for Stevens Passage, northwest 15 for Clarence Strait, and more predominant northwest breeze here at about 15 knots out along the coast, 4 to 5 foot seas, a little more westerly up here to the north. Prince William Sound, west at 10 tomorrow, or variable at 10, 2-foot seas, south 10 for the eastern North Gulf Coast, west 10 on the west side. Southeast 15, Barren Islands, kick up to about 20 for Kamishak Bay, southwest 20 here for southern Cook Inlet, and south 15 for northern Cook Inlet. And for Monday, south winds 15 knots for Cook Inlet with seas 3 feet, southeast 15, 4-foot seas Kamishak Bay, south 15 for the Barrens. Light winds here for the North Gulf Coast with those seas running 3 to 4 feet. Continued light winds for Prince William Sound as well with pretty slight seas. Kodiak Island tomorrow, light southeast winds, 10 knots, 2 to 4 foot seas. Sitkinak to Castle Cape, southeast at about 20. Same thing for Bristol Bay. Otherwise, really laying down here for the Alaska Peninsula compared to today. East, southeast at about 10, 8 to 9 foot seas. And then for the day on Monday here for Kodiak, southeast 10 to 15, picking up to about 20 knots, Bristol Bay and Sitkinak to Castle Cape. East 20 knots now on the Bering Sea side of the peninsula, and the Pacific side south at about 15. Aleutians, Fox Island, south to southwest 15 to 20 knots with seas 12 to 13 feet or so. And the Adak-Atka area southwest 25. So winds coming down, diminishing winds here, 30 knots out west. Everybody under the gale force winds for tomorrow, Monday. Westerlies, 25 knots here. Pick up 25 to 30 for the central Aleutians. Drop back off 15 to 20 and take a more south-southwest direction for the Fox Islands with those seas down to 7 to 9 feet, but still up around 15 out west. And for the southwest coast, tomorrow, south 20 to 25 knots north of Nunivak Island, 20 knots out of the south of the Pribilofs, 30 knots St. Matthew Island, 18-foot seas there. Southeast 30 St. Lawrence Island with 14-foot seas. Calms down on Monday there with east 15 and seas subsiding to 8 feet. Northeast at 20 here, Nunivak Island, north of Nunivak Island out to St. Matthew. Winds down to 15 now for the Pribilof, subsiding seas. Small craft advisory still south of Nunivak Island. Beaufort Sea coast, east 15 knots here from demarcation point all the way down to Cape Thompson. Cape Thompson to Wales, east of 20. Outlook for Monday, becoming northwest at 10. Pretty light winds here from Wales up to Cape Thompson. Westerlies at 10, and then east 15 on the west side, and east winds continue. We'll see at about 15 knots. Central coast will call it 10. And for tonight, this front edges into the coast here, weakening, especially in the southern portion, especially as far as the winds go, and a narrowing, lighter precipitation band tries to push along the coast. And a little more wind and rain for St. Lawrence Island. Pretty brisk showers out here, Bering Sea, Pribilof's back into the central Aleutians, but still the winds on the downward trend. Diminishing convection over the interior, and rain trying to taper off over the panhandle, but those showers will linger through tomorrow, but a lot less scattered, more scattered and isolated. Dry south central Alaska, partly sunny. Again, afternoon thunderstorms over the interior, high still back into the 60s to mid 70s. And same thing on Monday, still in the 60s to 70s over the interior with developing afternoon thunderstorms. Mostly sunny south central Alaska, southwest interior there, hopefully Kodiak Island after a pretty foggy, low cloud drizzle night tomorrow night. Next system pushes rain into the Alaska Peninsula and the Pribilofs, and for the southeast coast, partly to mostly with a risk of an afternoon shower. And out in the Aleutians, breezy with showers.
These forecasts are for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating.
Well, Alaska